Charm. Charms are probably the most common type of spell in the wizarding world. Unlike curses or transfigurations, charms don't change the object's nature, they just enhance or alter its behavior. Think of Lumos, which adds light to your wand tip, or Accio, which summons objects toward you. These spells modify how something acts, not what it is. The history of charms dates back to ancient magical traditions. Many of the charms we see today evolved from practical needs: lighting, unlocking, levitating. Because they're so useful, charms are often the first spells taught at Hogwarts, especially in Professor Flitwick's class. Most charm spells are verbal, and many are rooted in Latin. Wingardium Leviosa literally combines wing, as in flying, and levitate. Some, like Apariциum or Silencio, are even self-explanatory once you know their roots. But the exact inventor of each charm usually isn't recorded. That's because charms, like most early spells, came from generations of trial and error by early witches and wizards. Some advanced charms, like the Fidelius Charm or the Summoning Charm, are so complex they're considered almost ancient magic. Still, they fall under this same category, altering behavior without fundamentally transforming the object itself. Jinx. Jinxes are the pranksters of the magical world. They're low-level dark magic meant to irritate or embarrass rather than seriously harm. The classic schoolyard example is Ricta Sempra, which causes uncontrollable laughter by tickling, or the Trip Jinx, which makes someone stumble and fall. These spells are often the first signs of mischievous magic in young witches and wizards. In fact, some are so minor they're not even formally taught at Hogwarts. But that doesn't stop students from learning them anyway. Jinxes likely originated from experimental magic among early magical communities. Over time, they were passed down and categorized due to their playful nature. While relatively harmless, repeated or malicious use of jinxes can escalate into hexes, which are more damaging and less socially acceptable. Hexs. Hexes are a step up from jinxes. They're still meant to cause discomfort or inconvenience, but they usually have a more malicious edge. Unlike jinxes, hexes are often intended to embarrass or weaken an opponent. A classic example is the Bat Bogey Hex, which transforms a person's boogies into large flapping bats. Hexes are commonly used in dueling, and while not as dangerous as full curses, they're definitely not considered light magic. Many hexes are informal and often created by students or mischievous wizards, like those used by Fred and George Weasley. While most hexes don't have known inventors, they seem to emerge from centuries of informal magical experimentation. Some hexes are even borderline curses, blurring the line between prank and real harm. Curse. Curses are the most dangerous category of everyday magic, excluding the unforgivable curses. A curse is designed to do real damage, often with long-lasting or permanent effects. One well-known example is Sectum Sempra, which causes deep slicing wounds, and was invented by Severus Snape. Another is the Entrail Expelling Curse, a dark spell reportedly used during medieval times that causes a victim's internal organs to be expelled from their body. What sets a curse apart is intent. While a charm might levitate something and a hex might knock it over, a curse is aimed at destruction, control, or serious harm. Curses typically can't be reversed with simple counterspells and may require specialized magical knowledge or even magical creatures or antidotes for removal. For example, a Bezoar can counteract certain poison curses. Curses have been part of wizarding history since ancient times. One of the earliest known dark wizards, Herpo the Foul, is credited with creating the Horcrux spell, a magical process that tears the soul. While the incantation is never revealed, it's considered one of the darkest curses in magical history. Curses are strictly regulated in most magical societies, and repeated use can result in punishment by the Ministry of Magic. Counterspell. Counterspells are designed to cancel or negate the effects of other spells. The most common general counterspell is Finite, which ends ongoing magical effects. Another is Finite Incantatum, which works on a broader range of enchantments. Some spells have specific counters. For example, Libera Corpus undoes Levicorpus, and Renervate revives someone stunned by Stupefy. Apariциum reveals invisible ink, acting as a counter to concealing charms. Counterspells require precision. You can't just shout finite and expect every magical effect to stop, especially if the original spell is particularly strong or complex. While we don't know who invented most counterspells, they likely evolved alongside their corresponding charms, hexes, and curses. As magic became more widely used, the need to undo it naturally followed. Today, counterspells are essential in dueling, defense, and magical maintenance. Healing spell. Healing spells focus on repairing damage to the body or mind. Common examples include Episci, used to mend minor injuries like broken noses, and Vulnera Senatur, a powerful healing incantation used by Snape to stop bleeding from Sectum Sempra wounds. While some healing is magical, a lot of treatment in the wizarding world involves potions or magical items. For instance, Skellygrow regrows bones, and Pepper Up Potion cures the common cold. Most healing spells are used by medi-wizards or staff at St. Mungo's Hospital. Hogwarts professors like Madame Pomfrey are highly skilled in both magical and medicinal remedies. The origin of healing spells isn't fully documented, but they likely emerged from early magical communities trying to care for injuries caused by magical duels or creature attacks. Transfiguration. Transfiguration is the art of changing the form or appearance of an object or even a living being into something else entirely. Unlike charms which modify behavior, transfiguration alters the essence of the target. Turning a matchstick into a needle or an animal into a water goblet are classic examples. There are several branches of transfiguration, switching spells, vanishing spells, and conjuring, though conjuration is often taught as a separate subject. Animagus transformations, one of the most advanced forms, is considered part of human transfiguration. The subject is taught by Professor McGonagall at Hogwarts, who is a registered Animagus herself. It's widely regarded as one of the most difficult disciplines of magic, requiring exact wand movement, strong concentration, and deep magical theory. No specific inventor is associated with transfiguration spells, as they evolved from centuries of experimentation. Some believe that early magical tribes developed these transformations to mimic or control the natural world around them. Today, the field is heavily studied and regulated due to the risks of incomplete or unstable transformations. Conjuration. Conjuration is the magical act of creating something from nothing, or more precisely, from magic itself. It falls under the broader field of transfiguration, but is often taught as its own specialized skill due to its complexity. Spells like Aguamenti, producing water, or Incendio, producing fire, are forms of conjuration. That said, there are strict limits. According to Gamp's law of elemental transfiguration, certain things, like food, cannot be conjured from nothing. They must be summoned, duplicated, or transformed. Conjured items usually don't last forever and may disappear after a while. The exact magical theory behind conjuration isn't fully explained in the books, but it's portrayed as advanced magic mastered by highly skilled wizards like Dumbledore. Protective spell. Protective spells are used to shield, block, or conceal. The most iconic is Protego, the shield charm, which deflects physical and magical attacks. There are also more complex variations like Protego Maxima and Protego Horribilis, used in large-scale magical defenses. Other protective spells include Cave Inimicum, which detects intruders, and Repello Muggletum, which hides magical areas from non-magical people. Hogwarts itself is protected by layers of enchantments, anti-apparition charms, secrecy spells, and more. The most powerful known protective spell is the Fidelius Charm, which conceals information inside a person's soul, the secret keeper. It's used to hide entire locations, like the Potter's home in Godric's Hollow. The inventors of these spells are unknown, but they were likely developed over time by magical communities, seeking safety from dark wizards or muggle persecution. During the First and Second Wizarding Wars, protective enchantments became critical tools for resistance groups like the Order of the Phoenix. Unforgivable Curses. The Unforgivable Curses are the darkest spells legally defined in the wizarding world. They include Avada Kedavra, the Killing Curse, Crucio, the Cruciatus Curse, and Imperio, the Imperious Curse. Using any of them on another human being is punishable by a life sentence in Azkaban. Avada Kedavra causes instant, unblockable death without physical harm. Crucio inflicts unbearable pain. Imperio overrides a person's free will entirely. Each of these requires not just knowledge, but intention. The caster must genuinely want to kill, torture, or dominate. The origins of these curses are ancient, but undocumented. They were likely created by dark wizards during early magical conflicts. Herpo the Foul, for example, was known for experimenting with soul magic, and is believed to have influenced the creation of such spells. Though none of the unforgivable curses are directly attributed to him, the ministry classified them as unforgivable in the 18th century due to their abuse in wizarding wars. Despite their illegality, they were widely used by Death Eaters during Voldemort's rise to power. NonVerbal and Wandless magic. Nonverbal magic is the act of casting a spell without saying the incantation aloud. It requires more focus and magical control, and it's taught to students at Hogwarts starting in their 6th year. Spells like Stupefy or Expelliarmus can be cast non-verbally, though it's harder to master. Wandless magic, on the other hand, refers to performing spells without a wand. It's extremely rare among European wizards, but more common in other magical cultures. Dumbledore and Voldemort are both capable of wandless magic, showing just how advanced it is. Neither form has a known inventor. They're considered advanced techniques rather than specific spell types. They likely developed as extensions of deep magical mastery, long before wands became the standard tool for spell casting. Enchantment, bewitchments. Enchantments or bewitchments are spells cast on objects or places to give them magical properties that persist without active casting. The Sorting Hat, for example, contains the personalities of all 4 Hogwarts founders, allowing it to function independently. Another example is the Weasley Clock, which tracks each family member's location. Enchanted objects often appear in daily wizarding life: self-washing dishes, self-stirring cauldrons, and even bewitched brooms. These spells aren't cast repeatedly, they're embedded during creation. Enchantments like these vary in complexity. Some are simple utility charms, while others, like the ones placed on the Triwizard Cup to make it a portkey, require powerful layered magic. Their origins are often lost to time. Magical inventors and enchanters would have experimented over generations to create self-operating objects. In many cases, enchantments blur the line between spellwork and magical engineering. Taboo magic, trace magic. Taboo magic refers to spells that are magically bound to trigger consequences when certain conditions are met. The best-known example is the taboo placed on the name Voldemort during the Second Wizarding War. Saying his name activated tracking spells that revealed the speaker's location, used by Death Eaters to find members of the Resistance. The trace is a different kind of magic, an automatic monitoring charm placed on all underage witches and wizards. It doesn't detect who cast a spell, only that magic was performed near a minor. Both the taboo and the trace are examples of embedded surveillance magic, designed not to affect the physical world directly, but to trigger magical responses. Their creators are unknown, but likely linked to Ministry of Magic innovation and Dark Wizard experimentation.